Here is a concise description of how Mogok Sayadaw framed and discussed the Four Noble Truths. 1. The first noble truth, dukkha, the truth of suffering. Suffering is explained primarily in terms of the 5 aggregates, khandha, that constitute a human being: matter, rupa khandha; feeling, vena khandha; perception, sanya khandha; mental formations, sankhara khandha; and consciousness, vijnana khandha. Each time these 5 aggregates arise, they also pass away. Observing this constant arising and passing away gives insight into dukkha, suffering. All conditioned phenomena are impermanent and bound up with suffering. Mogok Sayadaw emphasized that misunderstanding these aggregates, especially not seeing their impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self nature, breeds wrong view and keeps one within the cycle of suffering. 2. The second noble truth, samudaya, the origin of suffering. The key causes of suffering are ignorance, avidya, and craving, tanha, which lead to grasping, upadana, and further actions, kamma. Mogok Sayadaw repeatedly noted that from not understanding how the aggregates arise, one develops craving and mental proliferation, I, mine, perpetuating rebirth and resuffering. By detailing how present aggregates emerge, in particular through sense contact, phassa, at the 6 sense doors, one can see how craving and clinging continuously re-arise if one does not guard the mind with insight. 3. The third noble truth, nirodha, the cessation of suffering. Cessation, nibbana, is presented as freedom from any further arising of ignorance and craving, which in turn halts the arising of future aggregates, i.e., halts new births. Although Mogok Sayadaw focused most heavily on the first step to that goal, dispelling wrong view and doubt to become a sotapanna, it also underscores that when ignorance and craving are uprooted, there is no fuel left for further rebirth, and suffering ceases. 4. The fourth noble truth, magga, the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Mogok Sayadaw emphasized that the first path, sotapatti magga, is attained by dispelling wrong view, diṭṭhi, and doubt, vicikicchā. This is done through insight meditation, Vipassanā, particularly by observing how the aggregates arise and pass away moment to moment. Understanding dependent origination, paticcasamuppada, in the present, not just theoretically as in texts, is key. One sees how 2 types of matter, for example eye-base and visible object, give rise to 4 types of mind: feeling, perception, volition, consciousness. Recognizing this ongoing causal process leaves no room for belief in a permanent I or a creator behind these phenomena. Through repeated observation, one develops the eightfold path factors, especially right view and right mindfulness, gradually weakening and ultimately uprooting ignorance, craving, and thus suffering. Central emphasis. Mogok Sayadaw repeatedly stressed that genuine progress requires knowing the aggregates here and now, in their continuous process of arising and dissolving, rather than speculating about past or future lives. By clearly seeing how sense contact leads to consciousness, feeling, perception, and volition, all arising together, one recognizes only impersonal causes and effects, a direct antidote to the notion of self. This insight-based realization dispels skepticism about the workings of kamma and ends the idea of I as the doer or experiencer, removing the twin hindrances of wrong view, diṭṭhi, and doubt, vicikicchā. Overall, Mogok Sayadaw's teaching of the Four Noble Truths emphasizes insight into present experience, Vipassanā, to uproot ignorance and craving. By deeply understanding how suffering arises from unexamined aggregates, one gains confidence in the path, dispelling doubt, and abandons false views that sustain further suffering.